So thanks, Satish, for being here. You're a peace pilgrim, a lifelong activist and former monk, and you have been inspiring global change for over 50 years. Aged 9, you renounced the world and joined the Jain monks. And inspired by Gandhi, you decided at 18 that you could achieve more back in the world, and you went for a peace pilgrimage, and that's very admiring, this peace pilgrimage you made, walking without money from India to America, to the nuclear capitals in the name of nuclear disarmament. And now you're over 80, but you're still you have good health, hopefully, and you have devoted your life to campaigning for Mother Earth and ecological regeneration, social justice, and spiritual fulfillment. And you have founded the Schumacher College in the UK, as well as the Resurgent Trust, an educational charity that seeks a just future for all. And of course, we will put the link of Resurgence, the magazine of this charity, if if that might interest some people here in the audience. So thanks for being here, Satish. And this we don't have a title for the topic, and so you just
Oh, that's fine. Thank you very much for your welcome
thank you.
and your introduction. And it's my great pleasure to be with you this evening. In India, when we greet people, we bring two palms together. The right palm represents the world. The left palm represents the self. And then bringing two together, we inter-are, we come together, united in relationship and in connection. So let's bring both palms together and bow to each other in greetings and in unity of life. Then relax, breathe in, smile, relax, and let go. Let go of all expectations. Let go of all anxieties. Let go of all fears. Let go of ego. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. And feel that the whole cosmos is our country. The whole planet Earth is our common home. Nature is our nationality. And love is our religion. And we breathe the same air as all living beings, humans and other than humans. Through our air, breathing, we are all related. We are all connected. We are interbeings. And as air does not discriminate against anyone, air sustains all life. Air goes beyond right and wrong, beyond good and bad, transcends all divisions and sustains all life. May we sustain all life as air. We learn from air. Air is our spiritual guide, our teacher. Similarly, we are earth. We are made of the earth. Our body is earth transformed, soil transformed. And earth sustains all life without any discrimination, without any judgment. Whether one is a saint or a sinner, one is a priest or a poet, one is rich or poor. Soil and earth sustains all life equally. May the earth be our teacher, our spiritual guide. And may we sustain all life without discrimination, without division, without judgment, going beyond right and wrong. Similarly, water. May the water be our teacher, our spiritual guide. Water flows. Water is soft and gentle. Water quenches the thirst of all living beings, humans and other than humans, without any discrimination, without any judgment. Water does not know good or bad, right or wrong. Water sustains all life. So may water be our teacher, our spiritual guide. And may we be like water and sustain all life without discrimination, without judgment, going beyond right and wrong, good and bad. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. Again, let go of all expectations. Let go of all anxieties. Let go of all attachments. Let go of ego. And we shift from ego to eco. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. And feel at home in our bodies, at home on our planet. Thank you. I'm delighted to be speaking to mindfulness teachers. Congratulations to all of you for being teachers. In this meditation, I have not used human teachers as our spiritual guides and teachers. I have only used nature as our teacher and our guide. That is my, we always have wonderful teachers. And Thich Nhat Hanh was a great teacher. Chogyam Trungpa was a great teacher. John Kabat-Zinn is a great teacher. And many, many other teachers in India, in China, in Japan, in Vietnam, in UK, in Europe, in America, everywhere. So I'm grateful to all our wonderful human teachers. And that is recognized. Everybody recognizes human teachers. But we need to recognize nature as our teacher. One of the great poets in India was Ravindranath Tagore. He wrote beautiful songs, poems. He wrote 2,000 songs. I don't know, some of you know the work of the poetry of Ravindranath Tagore. If not, please look out for his poetry. Very spiritual, very profound. And he also started a school called Shanti Niketan. Shanti means peace, and Niketan means house, house of peace. And he will hold his classes under a tree, under a mango tree. And he will say to his students that you have two teachers. I'm your human teacher, but this tree is also our teacher. And so learn from the tree. What you can learn from the tree is more spirituality. Tree will not maybe teach you language or mathematics or anything like that, although you can learn from tree as well. But the most important thing for Tagore was the tree will teach you compassion, unconditional love, absolute and total love, without any discrimination. When you go to a mango tree, or in Europe, you can equivalent will be apple tree. You go to the apple tree. Apple tree will never ask you, have you come with a Visa card? Have apples as a gift. The economy of nature is the economy of gift. And that gift is without any condition, any qualification. Whether you are rich or poor, whether you are a saint or a sinner, whether you are black or white, whether you are human or animal, whether you are birds or wasps or bees, whoever you are, apple tree will feed you. That is the gift economy of nature. Can we be like an apple tree or mango tree? That was Tagore's teaching. And then the same thing is with, go back to the Buddha. Once the Buddha's son came to the Buddha and said, Daddy, Father, you are a world teacher, but who is your teacher? Buddha was sitting in a position with a right palm on the left palm, sitting like this. And then he lifted his right palm and touched the soil, the earth, and said, earth is my teacher. It's called Bhumi Sparsh Mudra. Bhumi means earth. Sparsh means to touch. Mudra is to posture. So he taught his son Rahul that my teacher is the earth. Actually, in Thich Nhat Hanh's biography of the Buddha, this story is there in some form or the other. But the way I learned the story is direct dialogue between Buddha and Rahul, his son. And he said, look, I learned forgiveness from the earth. What we do to the earth? We plow it, we tread on it, we build on it, we do all sorts of things. Earth never complains. That's a true sign of love. Whatever you do to earth, never complains, forgives, and gives you food, flowers, herbs, vegetables, fruit, whatever you want. And through the earth, through the soil, we get trees, which gives us wood to build our houses. And trees or plants have cotton on them. And from that we make our clothes. What a wonderful gift of the earth. So earth is my teacher. That was a wonderful teaching. So I sometimes say the Buddha was perhaps the first founder or first member of Friends of the Earth. He was a true friend of the earth. So at the moment in our modern civilization, in industrial age, we look at the earth and all the natural world as simply a resource for the economy, so that we can make profit. We can make more production, more consumption, and economic growth. Nature has become a resource for the economy. But in the mindfulness and heartfulness of our consciousness, we can say that nature is not simply a resource for the economy. Nature is a source of life itself. That's a transformation of consciousness when you are mindful. You relate. We are all related. We come from the earth, we go back to the earth, we are one. There's no separation between nature and humans. Our modern civilization has created a story of separation. When we think of nature, we think the mountains, the forests, the rivers, the animals, the birds, the insects are nature. We humans are not nature. And not only that, not only we are not nature, but we are not only separate from nature, but we are above nature. Nature is our kind of servant. But when you study Buddha's teachings, you realize that nature and humans are not separate. We are nature. We are made of the same elements as trees are made of. We are made of earth, air, fire, water. Trees are made of earth, air, fire, water. And humans have consciousness. According to our Buddhist teachings, trees have consciousness. Trees have intelligence. And not only in Buddhist teachings, even William Shakespeare in England said that nature is imagination itself. Imagination is not simply a quality of the humans. Nature is imagination itself. That's the quote from William Blake. Shakespeare got it. Shakespeare said, tongues in trees. Listen to the trees. Trees have tongues. They speak to you. Nowadays, if somebody says, I'm speaking to trees or I'm talking to nature, they will think that you are crazy. You've gone mad. What do you mean talking to trees? But I'm not the only one. Shakespeare was talking to trees. He said, tongues in trees. and books in running brooks. So running brooks means rivers. So the rivers are a book of nature. Study the book of rivers. Forget about studying philosophy books and religious books or even Buddhist text. Study the book of rivers, book of nature. The greatest book, the book of nature. Even greater than the Bible, greater than the Quran, greater than the Bhagavad Gita. All the sutras are only a translation of nature's book. Books in running brooks. And sermons in stones. Can you believe Shakespeare saying this? Sermons in stones. You go to your church and cathedral to hear the sermons. You go to St. Peter's to hear the sermons and teachings of Pope Francis. Wonderful. I had a privilege of going to Vatican and spending 2 days there and meeting the Pope Francis. Wonderful. I like him. He's a great man. But Shakespeare says, go beyond that. Sermons in stones. Can you believe it? Stones are our teachers. Their sermons, their teaching, their patience, their resilience is so strong. And Shakespeare says, good in everything. No discrimination. No judgment. No judgment. Going beyond right and wrong, beyond good and bad. Good in everything. Everything. Even mosquitoes are good. Even serpents are good. Even the poisonous plants are necessary in their place. Everything in the creation, in nature, has a place. They have a purpose. They have meaning. So what Buddha taught to Rahul, William Blake taught to British people, and Shakespeare taught to his audience. How did we get to this idea that nature is only a resource for the economy? So when we are mindful of our relationship, when we are mindful of our breathing, we connect with the natural world. We connect with everything. Great Buddhist teachers have taught to pay attention to your breath. Chogyam Trungpa, the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, all great teachers say, pay attention to your breath. You are air, you are your breath. And breath is a symbol. In one word, you say breath, but it's a symbol. Just behind the word breath, the whole philosophy, whole science, whole poetry, whole theology. Pranayama. In the yogic tradition, we say prana, breath. In Chinese tradition, Taoist tradition, say chi, tai chi. The moment you become aware of your breath, you're aware that we are all connected through our breath. The moment you have that symbolic meaning, you get connected with water, you get connected with the trees, you get connected with the soil, you connected with the humans, you connect with all living beings. We are all connected. So if we want a world of mindful living, and we want people to become mindful of their existence through your breath, the starting point, we need to have that unity of life. When separations end, when divisions end, suffering ceases. This was the Buddha's teachings to Rahul. Why we have a suffering? Why we have wars? why we have conflicts, why we have poverty, why we have climate change, global warming, why biodiversity is diminishing, why our families are breaking down. You can make a long list of all your problems of the world. There's only one cause of all our problems: the story of separation. This is why Thich Nhat Hanh made this great gift of the idea of interbeing. Ukrainians and Russians are not separate. The moment you have separation, you have war. We are all humans. There's no need for America to spend huge amount of money on nuclear weapons and Pentagon military budget. If you put the entire military budget of the world on one side, including China, Russia, India, Africa, Europe, Japan, Australia, all nations of the whole world, and their military expenditure on one side, and the military expenditure of the United States of America on the other side, America spends more money than the entire world to put together. Why? Because they think they are separate from the rest of the world. The rest of the world might be their enemy. They are afraid, fear. Mindfulness and fear don't go together. Mindfulness gives birth to trust. You trust everyone. The kind of word called charitable assumption. You assume that whoever is speaking to you or bringing something to you or saying something to you, they have a good intention. Trust. I went around the world for 2.5 years through 15 countries, communist countries, capitalist countries, Muslim countries, Christian countries, deserts, mountains, snow, rain, forest. Not a single euro, single penny, single dollar in my pocket. For 2.5 years, I was fed and looked after by strangers, by people whom I have never met, and people whom I will never meet again. I'm not going to go back to the mountains of Afghanistan or the deserts of Iran or the snow-covered villages of Russia. I'm not going to go back. And they fed me. They sheltered me. They gave me shoes. They gave me clothes. They gave me haircut. Trust. There are no enemies. There are no enemies. Make no enemy. Have no enemy. It's only lack of mindfulness. The figment of your imagination that Russia is your enemy, China is your enemy, Pakistan is your enemy, India is your enemy, somebody is your enemy. Your neighbor is your enemy, your boss is your enemy, somebody is your enemy. So the moment you become mindful of nature, water has no enemy, earth has no enemy, whether you are Russian or Ukrainian, whether you are Chinese or American, whether you are Europeans or Brexiteers, whoever you are, earth will feed you. Water will quench your thirst. Air will sustain you every minute. And we are earth, we are air, we are fire, we are water, we are consciousness, we are spirit. Why are we not recognizing it? So the challenge of mindfulness is not only to meditate every day, which we should do, and be mindful of our breath, be mindful of the state of our mind, but also we need to be mindful of our relationships. Immediate and intimate relationship to ultimate relationship. Two ends of the same reality, the intimate and the ultimate. And so, for me, the idea of mindfulness is absolutely wonderful idea. The idea of being conscious of our place and being conscious that we are microcosm of macrocosm. We are the sun. Without the sun, we will not exist. We are the stars. We are rain. We are trees. We are all human beings. The moment you realize that expansive consciousness, the ultimate mind, anima mundi mind, then our immediate and intimate existence, relationships, activities, they become a source of joy without complaining, without criticizing. We drop all expectations. We drop all idea of achievement. We drop all ideas of accomplishment. We live in the state of being and the state of interbeing, being and interbeing. Thich Nhat Hanh used to say that being is not enough. We have to interbe. That's very good. So, being and interbeing, the moment we realize all our tensions, all our anxieties, all our fear, all our anger become subdued. If they don't disappear altogether, they become subdued. Of course, we are humans. And as humans, we have everything in our consciousness, in our mind, like in a garden. You cannot have a garden free of weeds. I have been a gardener for 40 years. And still in my garden for 40 years, I have been putting compost and weeding, and there's still weeds come. But I have no problem. I say, thank you, weed, for coming back to my garden. Let me take you away from here and put you in the compost. And you become soil again. So even if you have a bit of anger, a bit of fear, a bit of anxiety, a bit of attachment, a bit of desires, a bit of greed, they are weeds. Put them on the compost. They will become soil again. There's no need to worry. Just understand the nature of nature. Understand the nature of mind. Understand who we are. Then, of course, weeds you weed, and then flowers you cultivate, herbs you cultivate, fruit you cultivate. Even wildflowers, you let them grow. We are all gardeners. I think there is a line in Thich Nhat Hanh's poetry. You are gardener. We are gardeners. Gardeners of life. So being mindful is to be a gardener of life. And when you can be a gardener of life, then weeds and flowers and wildflowers and fruit and vegetables, this diversity of life is celebrated. You don't want monoculture of the mind. Mindfulness does not lead to monoculture of the mind, as you do not want monoculture of flowers or monoculture of vegetables in your garden. If your garden, 2 acres of garden, you have only potato, you will not be nourished. You need potatoes, but also you need asparagus, and you need lettuce, and you need beans, and you need peas, and you need strawberries, and you need raspberries, and you need gooseberries, and you need blackcurrants, and you know many, many things. Evolution favors diversity. And that is realized when you are mindful of the existence. You appreciate, you realize through your mindfulness, you realize that evolution favors diversity. In the beginning of time, there was nothing. It was a gas. Billions of years later, some water came. Billions of years later, some vegetation came. Evolution worked hard for millions and billions of years to create the kind of diversity we have today. In the beginning of time, there were no humans. There were no Russians, no Chinese, no Ukrainians, no Americans, no blacks, no white, no Muslims, no Christians, no Hindus, no Buddhists. Evolution said, this is too boring. I want to have a dance of diversity. And so created Hindus and Muslims and Christians and Jews and Buddhists and Americans and Chinese and Russians and languages and religions and everything grew. What a wonderful creation. Evolution. Thank you, evolution. So that is what we civilized world, which is not mindful of this diversity of life, wants to reduce this diversity into uniformity. And we say, oh, no, we don't want Muslims. In France, some people are saying, oh, no, Muslims are too bad. In India also, Hindu party, Modi government, say, oh, no, Muslims are curse on India. Why? Celebrate diversity. Linguistic diversity, religious diversity, national diversity, truth diversity are as important as biodiversity. Unity and diversity dance together. We all come from the same source. We all share one single origin. All of us have come from the Big Bang, but that unity, that one source, unity of life. We are all earth, air, fire, water. We are all consciousness. That unity dances and celebrates in diversity. And that we realize when we think and we be mindful and heartful. I always use these two words together, mindful and heartful. Because mind is more a thinking mechanism or thinking part, organism. Thinking organism, not mechanism. I don't believe in mechanism. Mind is a thinking organism. And heart is a feeling organism. And the thinking and feeling go together. Thinking is not enough. Feeling is also important. And so, it is a great pleasure to speak to the teachers of mindfulness. And whatever I have said, I know you already know it. I'm only speaking as a reminder of all what you already know. I don't have anything new to say to mindfulness teachers. You are all my teachers. You can all teach me. but sometimes it's helpful to be reminded of our own truth, of our own awareness. So it's a great pleasure to speak to the teachers of mindfulness coming from all over Europe and to your exchange platform. And I hope that we can include this teachings from nature and be mindful of our unity with nature. And we can be mindful that we are not separate, we are nature. We are as much nature as mountains and trees and animals and birds. We are all part of one home. The word ecos, from which comes ecology and economy, is a Greek word. And the ecos means home. So in the wisdom of Greek philosophers, the entire planet is our home. And the birds in the sky are our family members. The animals in the forest are our brothers and sisters. The American Indians and the indigenous people in North America and Brazil and many other countries, they always said, Father Sky, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. And our brothers and sisters and family members of two-winged, flying in the sky, four-legged, walking in the forest, and two-legged, living in communities. One family, one home, ecos, ecology, knowledge of home, economy, management of home. Beautiful word. So being mindful of our place and our unity and our diversity in nature, with nature, and learning from nature, that is my great passion, great passion when I am practicing mindfulness. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. And I'll be very happy to hear any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish. Yeah, if there is someone, if you want to ask questions to Satish, or maybe if you want to share something or ask questions, I know that for sure that when I listen to you, Satish, I know for a fact that nature has this ability to connect to myself. I mean, walking, meditation. Of course, we can walk inside our house, but when we walk outside and we're mindful, then this connection makes good. It makes me feel good, and this connection is, when we lose that connection. I live in a city, and it's very important for me to be near trees, because I have a sense that what you're saying is so true. That when we're disconnected from the nature or earth, we get disconnected from ourselves. I can sense
my mother used to say that asked me, do you know why and how the Buddha got enlightenment? And I said, because he was meditating. So he got enlightenment by meditating. And my mother said, but he was meditating under a tree.
Yeah, that's a big difference. True. I mean, yes.
So that's a mindfulness. Yeah. Any questions from anybody?
Questions? Yeah. If you want in the chat, or if you want to ask question, you just unmute your mic and you can ask directly to Satish.
There is a hand there. I can see.
Oh, there's a hand.
There is a hand. Unmute yourself. Yeah. Francois, Bordeaux, France. Please ask.
I'm happy to, but I realized that I believe Katharina had raised her hands like in the real world.
Yeah.
Me.
Okay.
You go first, Francois.
It's okay.
There's enough time. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you then. It's a great honor for me to listen to you live for the first time, and this is thanks to my friend Emmanuel Roch.
Yes,
Yes. Too, but she knows you very well.
Yes.
For the invitation. There's one thing that I'm noticing for myself is that over the years, practicing mindfulness has helped me navigate through life, navigate through stress, navigate through unsettling emotions, through things that I wouldn't like or whatever, in a more comfortable way. It has made me more calm and quiet. But at the same time, at some point, I realized that it was not necessarily making me more connected to nature. And I was kind of feeling more connected to myself, but I wouldn't feel that it necessarily would open me to the world that much. And so I'm recognizing that there may be a tendency, especially in the West, in the Western country, in the Western world, that mindfulness might come as a tool for self-care, which is great, for some kind of inner groundedness, but not necessarily like whole life groundedness. So I was wondering if you were observing this, and if you have any advice as to what type of meditations can pave the way for that, like maybe
yes.
wide connection to.
Were you at the beginning when we started?
No, I'm sorry, I joined with about 20 minutes delay.
Yes, it is recorded. So maybe you can ask people who have recorded this session to send you, because I started with a mindful meditation, connecting with the earth, air, fire, water. And so if you get that recording, then it will help you. But in nutshell, to answer your question, in your meditation and your mindfulness training, say, I am earth, and have a silence. And just contemplate, I am earth. Then after a few seconds or a minute or two, say, I am air. I am fire. I am water. I am consciousness. I am spirit. I am compassion. I am love. I am truth. So this way, and we also started our session, meditation, by putting left palm and right palm together. And I said the right palm represents the natural world and the whole world, the other. And the left palm represents the self, being calm, being kind, being good, being happy. And then you put two together, the world and the self together, connected, related, united. So that's a kind of mindfulness training that you can cultivate every day by saying, without earth, I will not exist. Without fire, I will not exist. My body has fire in my body, the warmth. The sun is fire. I will not exist. Without water, I will not exist. Without trees, I will not exist. Trees give me my oxygen, take my carbon. So earth, air, fire, water, I am those, and they sustain me. So if you are mindful of your relationship with the natural world, then it will become part of your meditative training and mindfulness training and heartfulness training, and you will feel more connected with nature.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next one. Yes. Yes, Katerina.
Yes, yeah, Teresa, you were raising your hand? Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Satish. I was especially touched by your elaboration on the illusion of separation.
Yeah.
And I was trying to connect this to our community here. We have seen each other virtually since 2020. So we have hardly been connected, and also our colleagues locally have hardly had the opportunity to be together. And so this illusion of separation is nourished by the fact that we are not close to each other physically. We cannot meet. And one of the problems that the associations are experiencing at the moment, and the members of our associations and the EAMBA itself as well, is that this illusion of separation is creating a lot of suffering, because associations organize events, organize retreats, organize seminars, but people are not coming. They are not only in the illusion of separation, but they separate themselves. So I was wondering, we call, even the English word member actually relates to, if you look at the body, it relates to parts of the body. And the EAMBA is only an entity due and thanks to the members. So what we would really like to do is find a way to get out of that illusion.
Very good, very good. I like what you just said. That's wonderful. How do we get out of that illusion of separation? People are not coming because, I mean, there could be many reasons, and I don't know all the reasons, but one reason could be that we need to make our Sangha a bit more joyful, more interesting, more celebratory. If you take Eastern culture in India or China or other countries, going to temple is a great joyful occasion. And meditation there, there's a dance, there's a music, there are flowers, there's a fruit, there's a feast, there's a sweets coming out after the ceremony. So celebration, where people feel joy and a kind of uplifting occasion. If you make your Sangha very kind of austere, and you come, you meditate, and you go home, that's wonderful meditation. I enjoy and I meditate every day. But we need to bring people together. You have to make a bit more friendship, a bit more feast, and more joy, and more celebration. And once a month, and you can say to people, when we meet Sangha, we have meditation first. There is some reading, some nice, beautiful reading from some great teacher. You can choose whichever it is, whether it's a Thich Nhat Hanh or whether it's a John Kabat-Zinn or Dalai Lama or anybody else. And so if we can, sorry, I've gone from gallery to, yeah, better.
It looks nice.
Yeah, better. So
Joyful.
I want to see everybody. So if you make your Sangha meditation, mindfulness, some reading, and then celebration, joyful, so that everybody enjoy friendship and meeting each other and sharing their concerns and sharing their stories and so on. Once a month, if you make that celebration, you might find more people interested to come. And even if you get 10 people, that's wonderful, 15 people. And also, I don't know where you are. If your Sangha is a bit nearby, within 10, 15, 20 kilometers, then it's easier for people to get there. But if people are living 50 miles or 50 kilometers away, then it's more difficult to get. So, oh, I can't be bothered to go so far away. So make your Sangha a bit more close to your community so that it's easier for people to come. And then also find out from everybody which day of the month will be more convenient for majority of people. So all these little nuances you can work out so that you can create a little more lively and joyful Sangha and overcome the illusion of separation.
Thank you, Satish. We are in 27 countries as EAMBA. So everything is far away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your words are very encouraging, because some of us who are present here are at the moment preparing the festival, the EAMBA festival, that takes place in the last weekend of September. And the red thread there is poetry and music.
Yeah.
Of course, we will have some more sincere and heavy subjects, but poetry and music should already make it light.
Yeah.
But there will be no dance and no sweets unless we send some packages with brownies around. But that will not really happen. But it's very encouraging what you say. Bring back the joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is maybe also an inspiration for my colleagues here, because the hybrid festival is meant for local sanghas to come together and have a parallel celebration, and there might be dance and brownies.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satish.
My pleasure. Next question. Any hands? Yes.
Manuela?
Yeah.
She was raising the hand.
Yes. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay. At the moment, I am in Switzerland, and here was a big storm. So the energy of the wind and some damage has been the effect of the very big storm.
Yes.
And I could feel the power of water, the power of wind. And it is, I can feel it also in my body when there is too much wind, or when there is too much water or too much heat, when there is a disbalance. But my influence on the macrocosm, I mean the influence of the macrocosm in me, the microcosm, I can feel that. But the other way around, I feel really so small and so exposed to this power. It really makes me very grateful for when the nature is balanced, because there is also a lot of suffering because of this climate change, or maybe it is just really also nature, which is as a symbol showing us who is behind, what is beyond. I don't know what you think, but last year here happened an accident. A big tree fell on a bus, on a small bus, and a young lady was inside, and she had a small child and a husband. They were outside, but she lost both of her legs.
Yes.
And things like that make me very sort of grateful for life, but also a big respect for nature. And to watch it more carefully, to watch maybe trees who are getting old or getting exposed to wind, or I don't know your opinion.
Yes. You know, in like our body also gets ill. Our body gets headache. Our body gets old. Our body gets many problems. But that is, like I said, in the garden, you get weeds. In the same way, once in a while, you get a big storm. But if you take the whole world, the entire earth, such events are very rare. And of course, my heart goes out for the lady who lost her legs. And I am full of compassion and love for this person. But out of 8 billion people, they are all nourished by nature. They're all fed by nature. You're all watered by nature. We are all taken carbon by nature, given oxygen by nature. The gifts of nature, the generosity of nature, the compassion of nature is much, much, much greater than occasional storm or one tree falling. There are how many billions of trees are there in the world? And maybe a few trees fall because they are old or some big storm has come or something. So we have, the universe is not designed to be absolutely perfect and no problem, like our body is not designed to be perfect, no problem, no old age, no illness, no headache, no cold, no cough, nothing. That's not the design of the universe. Universe has suffering as an integral part of its joy and happiness. But we have to always increase our joy and ananda and happiness and bliss, and always understand that there will be some storms and some weeds and some anger and some fear and some anxiety always there, and we learn to deal with it. We cannot be free of all these things. But if you take the whole world and the history of humanity, goodness is a much greater volume than these problems and even war, Ukraine war and Russian war. Very sad it is. My heart goes out for every Ukrainian and the refugees and the children dying and the sick people in the hospitals and the old people dying. My heart goes out. But at the same time, I have to realize that there are 8 billion people on this planet Earth, and there are only maybe 10 million people or 20 million people are involved in this war. And I hope that they can have a sanity and they can have wisdom and they can have an idea of relationship and neighborliness and solve their problems and find common ground and common interest. All those are my wish. But at the same time, I have to accept the world is never going to be 100% perfect. And we have to live with it. Like our body is never going to be 100% perfect. We have to live our body as it is. Sometimes you will get some problem. But in the scheme of things, joy, happiness, and goodness is much bigger than the problems we face today.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Satish.
Okay.
We have
Next
Magdalena.
question.
Magdalena, I think, right? Yes.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I have opportunity to speak and a little bit embarrassed. I live in Croatia in a small city, and I do not meet a lot of different people, let's say. But just yesterday, I was visiting my son in Netherlands, and yesterday, when I was going back home on that big airport near Amsterdam, I don't know. I hope you will not find it inappropriate to say. I was waiting in a queue for a toilet, and I saw several very different women, different skin color, differently dressed, and I thought, what would be the obstacle to make friends with these women? Because we are biologically so so similar, almost the same.
Yeah.
And it is just stories and beliefs and these cultural differences. And later on, one woman was helping us going to that big airport, and she was so skillful in doing that and driving that big wheels there. And when she left us on the appropriate place, I told her, "You are such a strong woman in a charge." And she smiled, and I smiled, and there was it was no difference between us. Two women understanding. She just understood what I told her.
Yeah.
So I do hope in future generations we will find the way to understand that in that deep processes which we can touch with mindfulness, we are so similar, so similar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Thank you.
beautiful contribution. That's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
contribution. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Next.
I think unless someone else, I think Katarina had another question.
Well, I was
Dominic
wanting to give the floor to whoever comes up. I have another question, but it can wait. So let's see who else wants to go.
Dominic raised the hand as well. So Dominic.
Please go ahead, Dominic.
Yes, hello, Satish. My question is, given that you've been involved in care of the earth and the environment for most of your life, and we're now at a situation where there's so much anxiety about global warming and lack of biodiversity and all that. Do you have hope for the future? Do you think we can get over the impending crisis that we seem to be facing, or what is your view about all of this?
Yes, I have hope. Because if you have no hope, you don't act. Mm-hmm. But my hope is not a passive hope. It's an active hope. Because passive hope is something will turn out, something will happen, I wait. That's a passive hope. But active hope is I'm going to do something about it to end this crisis of climate change, or crisis of diminishing biodiversity, or crisis of Amazon rainforests being cut down, or the oceans are being polluted. I'm going to do something about it. So to be an activist, you have to be an optimist. If you are a pessimist, you might become a journalist, but not an activist. And therefore, I'm an activist, I have a hope, and all the things we face today, like climate change and global warming and pollution and all the sort of destruction that we face, are all created by humans. What is created by humans can be changed by humans. It's not nature's rule or given by nature. It's created by humans. All the pollution we have created, we can stop it. Global warming, we are creating. Carbon emission, we are creating. We can stop it. The energy coming from the underground, from the oil wells and coal mines and gas wells, they are energy from underworld. I call it energy from hell. If you use energy from hell, you create hell on earth. And there's energy from heaven, the sun energy from heaven, the wind energy from heaven, the rain energy from heaven. And you don't have to do any mining, you don't have to do any digging. It's all free, it's coming, air is free, sunshine is free. So if you use energy from heaven, you create heaven on earth. So this wisdom has to prevail eventually. People have to realize that if you dig deep, which the coal has been put down under the world for millions of years, leave it alone. And the oil, leave it alone. You don't have to go to hell to get your energy. Go to heaven to get your energy. This can be done. And I think there's a rising consciousness, particularly among the young. There are millions of girls and boys, students in schools and universities. They are marching Fridays for the Future. And there are lots and lots of groups around the world, and even United Nations and even governments are slowly waking up. So I act, I'm an activist, I want to change, I want to see a better world. I may not achieve it in my lifetime, but I don't worry. It's not a problem. I plant trees for next generation. I build a house for next generation. In the same way, I try to work for peace and work for good environment for next generation. My children and grandchildren, they should have heavenly energy and not energy from hell. And so I will remain an activist until the last breath of my life, because I think that we must do something about these problems. We cannot just say, oh, nothing, hopeless, we can't do anything, world has gone to ruin. That is not my way. My way is to act and be optimist and be hopeful. Active hope.
Thank you, Satish, for such an encouraging answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know Katerina had another question. This maybe I can also ask a question, Satish, if that's okay with you.
Yes, yes, certainly.
It's okay with Katerina. With this recognition of with mindfulness, if we look at the world and we can actually, it can be too much, so it can create a lot of anxiety. And I know a lot of people that try to act, sometimes feels like this systemic change is so systemic that me individual, okay, I decide not to take the plane anymore, like for the rest of my life. I decide to respect nature, but the fact that it needs systemic change creates a lot of frustration, because so mindfulness can help with this, with anxiety, eco-anxiety, but it's not easy to deal with this sometimes, to be hopeful, to be optimistic, to have this active hope. A lot of activists, they sometimes, it's so important that it's like a struggle, like a fight, and it gets out in a violent way sometimes. What is it necessary? That's the question I'm asking myself. The way to raise consciousness, you know.
Yeah. No, the reason that we have eco-anxiety is because we have attachment with the results of our action. I act without expecting any results, because I believe that the action to serve the humanity, to serve the planet Earth, has intrinsic value. It's good in itself. I have to do what is the right thing to do. You decided not to fly. That is the right thing to do for yourself. That is your conviction. Whether anybody else stops or not is beside the point. You do what is best from your point of view. So I act without expecting any results, any outcome, any achievement. I think I must do what is the right thing to do, what is a good thing to do, what is in the service of humanity. I'll do my best. And what happens afterwards is not in my gift. It's not in my control. I'm not in charge of the whole world. Even people who are presidents and prime ministers do not have all the power that they want to do and they want to achieve. And so without that ambition, I have a hope. I hope because things can change. I've seen in my life, I came to France in 1963, and somebody gave me a copy of Simone de Beauvoir's book, The Second Sex. I read it. That changed my life. I became feminist. That one book, I don't know how many people have changed. And at that time, the place of women was very suppressed. Women could not wear trousers in public. They had to always wear a skirt. Now, I mean, at that time, no woman was prime minister or president. Now, lots of things have changed. We have seen Berlin Wall coming down. We have seen apartheid coming down. We have seen French imperialism and British imperialism coming down. We have seen racism in America coming down. Not totally. There's a long way to go. But still, a black man was in the White House. Martin Luther King could not have imagined that a black man, Obama, could be in the White House 40 years later. So in my life, I have seen changes. Martin Luther King did not live to see a black man in the White House. Doesn't matter. But he worked for the children and grandchildren and the future generations. So we have to do our best in our life for the future generations. Just how much our ancestors have done for us. our literature, our culture, our music, our poetry, our philosophy, from the Buddha, from Shakespeare, from Victor Hugo, from Mahatma Gandhi. We have received so much. They did all this good work for us. We do some good work for our next generation. So with that detachment, without expectation of results in my lifetime, we act because this is the right thing to do. So don't worry the immediate achievement of your action. Then you will have no eco-anxiety. Eco-anxiety comes, you are expecting results. They don't happen. You get disappointed. You become anxious. Why people are not doing it? Why people are not responding to my urging and my campaigning and so on? Have no expectation. Participation is the answer. You participate in the process of transformation. Like a great river is made of small, small tributaries. You have Seine River going through Paris. Where it starts very small, just a trickle, a spring. And then another tributary joins in, another tributary joins in, another tributary joins in. And hundreds of tributaries join in, it becomes a great river of Seine going through Paris and many other rivers like that. In the same way, the change and transformation comes from everybody joining, putting their energy and imagination and creativity and work together, then great transformation happens. But we have to play our role. If each little tributary said, oh, what can I do? Nothing changes. There's no water. There's nothing happening. If each tributary held back, there'll be no great Seine River. So we all have to do our bit without expectation, without desire, without attachment, without anxiety. And that's it. What happens, result not in our hands.
Thanks. Thanks for your answer.
Okay, so do you want to have a final question, Katrina?
Yeah, if Katarina wants to, that would be...
I just see there is someone else. Oh no, Manuela, thank you. Well, indeed I do. And I'm grateful for you touching on this active hope. And also what resonates with me is that you said participation is the answer.
Yeah.
And I would, it's nice that that went before my question, because my question is how to reconcile what you said, drop expectations, drop achievement, and drop accomplishment with this active hope. Because as you also said, it's something active. And I would again like to apply it to our community here, the EAMBA community, because the teachers are in distress. They have expectations, they have achievements. And although there are more mental health problems, there is lower quality of life. Teachers are struggling to attract the participants that were there before. They are ready to lower their fees, they're ready to adapt to smaller groups, but at the same time, they cannot fill the expectations of the candidate participants. And this is a real problem because they might not survive. They might finish being a teacher, and then we lose certified, well-trained, experienced, well-meaning people simply because they can't pay their electricity bill. So I would like to know how to reconcile that we drop expectations, use participation as the answer, but be carried by the wings of active hope.
Very good question and not easy to answer, but with active hope, you also have to have a trust. And trust is that without worrying who is going to pay my bills, how am I going to pay my electricity or telephone or any other bill, don't worry. Don't worry. You do what you really want to do with your passion and with your love and with your commitment, and be ready to suffer. Be ready to face difficulties. Be ready to face adversity. If you have a kind of greenhouse in which everything is safe and protected and a tree growing in it, it will not be resilient. It will not be strong. It will be very manicured and fertilizers, pesticide, herbicide under the glass. But a tree which is under the storm, under the snow, under the rain, sometimes it falls down, sometimes it has problems, and yet that tree is stronger. So,
Okay,
so
let's
all
be in the storm then.
great activists never worried. Nelson Mandela never worried who is going to pay my bills. Mahatma Gandhi never worried. Thich Nhat Hanh never worried. I never worry. I have lived 85 years. Universe pays the bill. I trust. And if the universe doesn't pay the bill, bill will suffer, or I will have a cut of electricity. But I'm prepared to suffer for my conviction. I'm prepared to die for my conviction. I'm not prepared to kill anyone for any cause, but I'm prepared to die. I'm prepared to suffer on myself, but I'm not prepared to act without hope, without trust, and all that. So do not fear problems. Do not fear suffering. Do not anticipate problems before they come. We start to worry about problems before they've arrived. How am I going to happen with that? But that problem has not arrived. How do you know the problem will arrive or not? How do you know that you will not have the electricity bill paid? And if it's not paid, it's not paid. Electricity cut off is cut off. You are not going to let your dignity of your human life and your conviction, your courage go just for the sake of electricity bill. So let the electricity bill stay unpaid and let them cut off your electricity line, and you will have candlelight. And I was born in India, Rajasthan, where there was no electricity, there was no telephone. We lived by the candlelight in the evening. We read the books in a lantern, with a kerosene lantern, with a little glass, and no telephone, no bicycle, no car, no nothing. And I grew up, and we were not poor. So the idea that if I don't pay electricity bill, and if I don't have this, that, or the other, if I don't have a car, then I am lost. We have lived for millions of years. Humanity has survived for millions of years without paying electricity bills and the telephone bills. So we have to have more courageous. We need to have more courage, more fearlessness, and more trust in our work, and do what you really want to do with love, passion, commitment, and then everything will be okay. All will be well. All will be well. If you worry about your electricity bills and so on, you will not be very happy. And you will have more anxiety because you are anxious of paying the electricity bill rather than doing something greater than paying electricity bill. So I would say trust, and trust, and all will be well in the end.
Thank you, Satish. Upon request of some of our participants, would you guide, please, in a short meditation to close the session? We have time for that?
Yes.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Please.
So somebody you said, or should I do it? Or somebody can do it?
No, we are invited. We upon request of some of the participants here.
Yes.
We would very much like you to guide us in a closing meditation.
To close the session.
I have not understood. Are you asking one of the participants to do it?
No, you.
No, actually, it was a request.
I get it. Yeah.
If it's okay with you.
Okay. Let's bring our both palms together. Close our eyes. Breathe in. Smile. Relax. And let go. And as breath sustains all living beings, we are all connected through our breath with everyone, humans and other than humans. With that breath, breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. Oh, Shanti, lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our heart, our world, our universe. Peace, peace, peace. May all beings upon this earth, humans and other than humans, live in peace, find fulfillment and self-realization. And may I and we offer all our thoughts, all our words, and all our actions for the well-being of all, for the well-being of all, for the well-being of all. And may we think our thoughts, speak our words, and perform all our actions mindfully and heartfully throughout the day and night. Then there is no distinction between meditation and living. Meditation is a way of life and a way of being. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, and let go. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Satish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Satish.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.